थकान सी थी मेरे को बहुत, और ठीक भी नहीं हुई तो लेना पड़ेगा। मतलब
जब मैं कोचिंग के पास पहुंचने लगता हूँ तब मेल आता है तुरंत मैंने तो चला
मैं था वैसे ही था। संख्या कम ही होती रहेगी क्लास क्लास में। हाँ वो बाद में रियलाइज हुआ, 15 को ओपन टेस्ट नहीं रखवा चाहिए था, बाद में दे देना तुम लोग को। एक्चुअली so I had given you one question, that is write a brief note on the theory of population of Marx. Present two case studies, one from world, another from the India, applying the theory of Marx. Try किया? इंडिया का एग्जाम्पल कैन आई से स्लम्स वर्सेस ओनर्स ऑफ द लैंड, फाइन, या स्टेट वाइज एग्जाम्पल दोगे, बिहार वर्सेस महाराष्ट्र या बिहार वर्सेस केरला, ये अप्लाई होगा मार्क्स में? नहीं, केरला इज नॉट अ रिच स्टेट, यू हैव टू टेल अबाउट द growth of population in the poor people and the versus the growth of population in the rich people. You can even tell about the growth of population in the community, fine. So लिख पाओगे? You have to talk about the growth of population in the slums versus the growth of population in the city center. Even in the city, rich people generally who own the land, who are educated, will have less population, less number of children, while the poor people will have more number of children. And world में से example ले लो Europe versus Africa. You take an example of Europe versus Africa. Maximum population growth rate is in which continent today? It is in Africa. Africa. Maximum number of people live in Asia, but सबसे ज़्यादा population बढ़ रहा है in Africa. See, it is today, you will understand, it is shifting. Once upon a time, Asia, Europe was the region जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा population growth हुआ. Then it shifted to Asia. Then now it is Africa, because Africa is in the demographic transition model 1. Clear? एक जनरल क्वेश्चन मैं पूछ रहा हूं, व्हाई आर पीपल इन नॉर्थ ईस्ट, स्पेशली इन आसाम, अपोजिंग सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल? क्या 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 है इनर लाइन परमिट? क्या आसाम में? आसाम में जो, हाँ So who are the migrants? Bangladeshis. Muslims from Bangladeshis? If the Muslims are there, तो फिर वो होना ही नहीं चाहिए. Muslims को they are not going to give what? It is the Bengalis, that is the Hindu Bengalis. Now, just quickly, ये अगर आंसर वर्स्ट केस में आता है ज्योग्राफी में, तो आप इतना याद रखना, the geographical answer will be history, that is Assam and Bengal. Once upon a time, Bengal was a part of larger Assam, northeast frontier province. Fine. There are two different cultures in this region. Cultural geography का part है, इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ. There are two different cultures in this region in which the differences are seen linguistically, not religious differences, linguistic differences. जैसे तमिल मुस्लिम है, तमिल क्रिश्चियन है, तमिल बुद्धिस्ट है, तमिल हिंदू है. Similarly, there is Assami versus Bengalis, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, etc. So there are two basic differences in this region. One is the Assam and other is the Bengali. Now historically, Bengali dominance has been there in the linguistic regions. Historically, Bengali has always dominated. Bengali is the how much most spoken language in the world? What is the most spoken language in the world? Yes, yes, yes. No, 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 no. Mandarin Chinese, number one language in the world. Second, Spanish. Third, English. Fourth, Hindi. Fifth, Arabic. Sixth, and seventh, Bengali. So it comes in the top 10 languages of the world, Bengali. Fine. And with this act, Bengali people belonging to the other minorities or belonging to the religions other than Muslims will be given amendment rights. Fine. And as a result of this, most of the Bengali people will be settled in or will be given citizenship rights, as most of the people will be settled in Assam and all this region, Assam, Tripura, etc., all this region. Present day scenario, these people are already settled illegally or they don't have citizenship rights in that region, and because they don't have citizenship rights in that region, they cannot get into any government service, they cannot own any percentage of land or any certain amount of land, etc., in this region. Fine. Now, geography second. If we look at the topography of Assam, upper Assam is mountainous and therefore it is not agriculturally suitable. Fine. Lower part of Assam, which is a plain, is the region of Brahmaputra river. ऐसा geographical answer आने दो. Fine, is a region of Brahmaputra river in which during the monsoon season, which is the most important agricultural season, most of this area is under the water and therefore it is not arable. Rest of the most of the fertile lands of Assam has already been taken up by the Britishers and introduced tea plantation workers. Fine, tea plantation in that. So the percentage of the arable land in Assam is very less. And if the migrants are allowed in this region, there will be the problem of resources versus the land, whether it is the agricultural resources or any other land. Getting it? Thirdly, Assam is not developed in the terms of industrialization as compared to the other regions of the plains. Fine. And therefore, due to the nature of the geography, that is first, linguistic minority ban jayega the Assam in the state of Assam itself. Secondly, the resources versus the land. Thirdly, less arable land and huge population pressure. And fourthly, lack of industrialization. Hence, the Assam is opposing this Citizen Amendment Bill. The rest of the northeastern states are not opposing it because they have already been given exceptions. Right? I am not going into the political issue, geographical issue. Yaad rakhna, most of the arable land has been taken up by Britishers. प्लांटेशन वर्कर्स। जो बची हुई एरेबल लैंड है उसमें से आधी तो पानी के नीचे चली जाती है। सो जो आधी बचती है उसके ऊपर कितना प्रेशर ले पाएगी? द पीपल विल लिव देयर वोंट बी एनी लैंड लेफ्ट फॉर एग्रीकल्चर, and if there is no land left for agriculture, Assam, which was once upon a time the richest state of India, will become a backward state of India. Fine, getting it? That is why the people are opposing it. Tripura. Yes. What did Tripura ka CM say? BJP ka CM, if NRC is implemented with the present cutoff date, he himself is an ineligible citizen of India. The evidences in the other plain state has shown that Tripuri, who were once a majority of Tripura, are now minority. 20% and 80% are this thing. Fine? Yes. Yes, Tripura Bengali only. And population तो बढ़ते रहेगा बांग्लादेश में. If there is rain, it will bring more Bengalis. See, imagine, this is why this is not a problem here. Whether you are in Bihar, whether you are in UP, whether you are in Uttarakhand, whether you are in Haryana, whether you are in Rajasthan, whether you are in MP, कहीं से कहीं पे भी shift करो. This all is Hindi speaking belt. Problem होता है linguistic minorities का in other states. यहाँ पे, which are the smaller states, right? Obviously, they will work for cheaper. They can nahi, they will work for the cheaper rates. Comparative cost advantage. They have nothing to lose. So even if somebody is giving them 10 rupees, they will work. They can stay in slums. Fine, they are rebuilding the lives. हाँ, एरिया भी इतना इशू नहीं है, पर लैंग्वेज जो हमारा एक टॉपिक है इसमें, कल्चर, लैंग्वेज, रिलीजन, रीजनलाइजेशन. फाइन. सो जस्ट हैव अ आइडिया ऑफ मार्क्स वर्सेस माल्थस. क्वेश्चन अगर आता है तो यू शुड हैव एन आइडिया, सम सिमिलैरिटीज, सम एंड डिफरेंसेस. The question comes, Marx versus Malthus. Obviously, the introduction may you will give two statements about the Malthusian theory and the Marxian theory. According to the Malthusian theory, poverty and misery are an outcome of population growth. Don't write anything. Just listen to me. According to the Malthusian theory, poverty and misery are an outcome of population growth because the population increases at the geometrical rate while the food production increases in the arithmetic rate, resulting into haves, have-nots, and the poverty and misery. According to Marx, it is poverty and misery is not an outcome of population growth, but it is an outcome of the economic system in which the private ownership of the land promotes two classes. The labor class, because they don't have any surplus, for they will create more and more population, so that labor will act as a surplus. Fine? So based on this, common. Both highlighted labor demand as population regulators. Marx versus Malthus. Both highlighted labor demand as population regulators. Both accepted that the birth rates and the death rates decrease, wages increase. ये इसने भी कहा था माल्थस ने, बट हम जाते नहीं है डिटेल में. But Marx was more explicit. Both of them have influenced the views of scholars about the population and socio-economic development. Both failed to conceive that population could grow and the standard of living could grow at the same time. ऐसा नहीं है कि population is growing, so standard of living is not going to grow. The quality of life is not going to grow. So India is a perfect example कि how after 80s the population has grown, but even the standard of living has grown. So ऐसा नहीं हुआ in India that we remain poor only. Those who did not have a ownership of the land remained poor only. ऐसा नहीं है. It all depends upon the social capital, social mobility, how much you are having, कि how you can take the chances. Fourth, labor substitution, unskilled by skilled, and children for adults does not always cause decrease in the wages. दोनों ने क्या कहा था? Over the period of time, labor substitution, automation, labor substitution, child labor coming up, or people being forced to work. Understand? इसने क्या कहा था? Unemployment होगा and then the people will be forced to do the work. Marx ने कहा था. So it will result into decrease in the wages. कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. Again an example है कि over the period of time wages have increased. Labor substitution, labor being substituted by something else, does not always result into the decrease in the wages because it is determined by the government policies and human rights. Why? Because both Malthus and Marx are silent about the role of government in protecting citizens. Example, Minimum Wages Act. सिर्फ इंडस्ट्री नहीं डिटरमाइन करेगा, इट इज ऑल्सो द गवर्नमेंट विच विल डिटरमाइन हाउ मच मनी, हाउ मच सैलरी यू शुड गेट. डिफरेंसेस. और सेकंड एग्जांपल वहां पे लिख सकते हो आप, पे कमीशंस ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. कंप्यूटर्स आते रहे, वर्कफोर्स हैज बीन रिड्यूस्ड, फाइन. सो वर्कफोर्स हैज बीन रिड्यूस्ड, बहुत सरप्लस वर्कफोर्स है इन इंडिया, बट हैव द पे रिड्यूस्ड और इंक्रीज्ड? इंक्रीज्ड. This is what is the second example, pay commissions in the government of India. Ideological, what are the differences? Both are from two different parts of the world. One is rightist, one is leftist. One is the proponent of capitalism, one is the proponent of his own ideology, that is communism or Marxism. Ideological differences, Marx के लिए the ownership of private property is the root of most of all evils. While Malthus कहता है self interest should be guiding principle. सिर्फ समझ लो, देखो क्वेश्चन आए ना आए पहले समझ लो, बाद में हम क्वेश्चंस लिखेंगे. सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट शुड बी गाइडिंग प्रिंसिपल. कैपिटलिज्म किस पे कहता है? माई ग्रीड, माई सेल्फिशनेस इज गुड फॉर द सोसाइटी. क्योंकि मैं अगर केक बड़ा बनाऊंगा तो मुझे ज्यादा माल लगेगा. सो जो क्रीम बना रहा है उसका भी फायदा होगा, जो शुगर बना रहा है उसका भी फायदा होगा, जो खा रहा है उसको भी फायदा होगा. फाइन, अंडरस्टैंडिंग? इफ द केक इज बिगर, so if you help in making my cake bigger, my profit bigger, you are also going to get the profit. So Malthus कहता है self interest should be the guiding principle. Why? वहां पे लिखो, because he believes in capitalism. And Marx कहता है ownership of private property is the problem. Malthus says the problem of population is clash of between the population and subsistence. Fine. What is the outcome of Malthus? There will be no food left. So it is always the clash between population and subsistence, food production. While Marx के लिए it is the clash between the modes of production. Capitalist mode of production is responsible for population surplus. And thirdly, Malthusian theory is universally applicable and Marxian theory is applicable only to the capitalist mode of production. Up next comes the factual data, and first we will see this factual data and then we will see how to use this factual data in the terms of question and answers. There is a circle of world population in which Asia is having more than 50% of share. So सबसे ज़्यादा population is in the continent of Asia, followed by Africa, followed by Europe, followed by Americas, both North and South America, and then least is in Oceania. 1750 to 1850, average annual growth rate of the developed countries was, population growth rate was 0.6%, and developing countries was 0.4%. देखो क्या है, आज कहाँ पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट ज़्यादा है? डेवलपिंग नेशंस. बट 1950s तक कहाँ पे था पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट ज़्यादा? डेवलप्ड नेशंस. व्हाट, ऐसा क्या हुआ इन 1950s? हिस्ट्री में जाना. वर्ल्ड वॉर, and after that independence of numerous colonies and installation of democratic government, welfare government, and therefore उनके citizens का medical facilities देके they started taking care, and therefore average life expectancy in the developing countries increased, and hence 1950s से अभी population growth is more in developing nations. Between 1850 to 1950, developed nations started growing at 0.9%, while the developing nations started growing at 0.6%. So 200 साल में, in the last 200 years, so which is this year now? 2020, we can take example. So 1750 to 1850, 1850 to 1950, 1950 to 2020, in the last 270 years, सबसे ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ हुआ है टिल 200 years in the developed nations. Out of the last 270 years, 200 years कहाँ पे पॉपुलेशन ग्रो हुआ है? In the developed nations. So इसी को बहुत लोग कहते हैं injustice. What Prime Minister Modi says, climate injustice. You are responsible for degrading the earth, and now you are telling us, giving us moral lectures. Even if you look at the population growth, even if you look at the data of climate change, maximum has occurred in developed nations. It is only in the last 1950, 60, 70 years the developing countries are coming up. As the developing countries are coming up, you are accusing them of human rights violations, you are accusing them of lacking development, you are accusing them of climate injustice or climate global warming. So if this is the thing, then when will we grow? You have taken 200 years to grow. Now it is our chance, right? And can you see the difference between the developed and developing nation in 1850 to 1950? बहुत ज़्यादा है, 0.3% का difference है. This is because 1850 to 1950 was the era of industrial growth, industrial revolution. So industrial revolution caused one of the largest increase in the population. Thus, for 200 years, out of the total history of population growth of 268 years, 270 years, yeah, 269 years, and 268, 269 years, developed countries recorded more growth than developing nations. But 1950 is known as the watershed year in the growth of population. Why watershed year? Because of the population expansion in the developing nations. Because during the 1950 to 2000, less developed countries like us have contributed suddenly to the 85% increase in the population, while 15% is now contributed by the developing nation. Why? Because of something known as demographic transition model. That is, the countries which were initially in the demographic transition stage 1 are now either in the stage 4 or stage 5, and the countries like us, developing nations, are either in the stage 1, stage 2 or stage 3. So क्या है ये demographic transition model? I'll explain you very quickly. बाकी की चीज़ों की ज़रूरत नहीं है. डेमोग्राफिक मोमेंटम इसलिए है क्योंकि ये वर्ड करंट अफेयर्स में है. सो क्वेश्चन आ सकता है डायरेक्टली ऑन द डेमोग्राफिक मोमेंटम. and what are the problems of less developed countries, what is the application, we'll see this application, and then what is the social capital. Now see, ye jo hai, this handout which I have given you is for the mains student, those who are writing mains this year, unko ye handout diya tha, fine. It is not basically for the foundation batch. So this is how they study, उनका अंदर सब है, definition विफिशन पता है, उनको सिर्फ structuring देखनी होती है, and this is how they study these topics, right? So इसलिए you may not feel that much connected. Industries के साथ you felt connected because it was properly written. So I was expecting social capital to come in last year, geography optional में. Unfortunately, it came in this year's preliminary exam, GS में. What do you understand by the social capital? I guess every one of you has an basic idea of demographic transition model or demographic transition theory. How many of you have an idea of demographic transition model? You don't have? We have done that in GS. Hai? Now this kind of a model says कि there are two indicators. One is the birth rate, green color. पहले समझ लो, लिखो कुछ भी मत, खुद ही लिख सकते हो, इतनी easy है. And there is a death rate, red color. And it says that this is how demography is population and how it undergoes the transition. So the transition of a population from high birth rate, high death rate society to the low birth rate and low death rate society. So take an example of, I'll ask her, how many masis, mamas you have? 3 masis. And how many brothers or mamas they have? Big. मतलब कितने थे? मतलब मम्मी को कितने थे? भाई, sorry, मम्मी के मम्मी को कितने थे? 16. Well, that is there. क्यों 16 थे? You will understand this. Obviously, her grandparents belong to the era before independence. And era before independence, our society was well developed or underdeveloped? Underdeveloped. Life expectancy was high or low? Low. Average life expectancy was 30 to 35, this thing. Fine. There was lack of medical facilities. There was lack of education. Fine. There was lack of social mobility. There was lack of education, social mobility. There was lack of technology. And most of the society was primitive society which was based on agriculture. Fine. Now in the agricultural society, हमेशा population growth ज़्यादा होगा because in the agricultural society, population is having an economic concept of labor. Greater the population, greater is the labor. So in the primitive society, red color मैंने कहा था is the death rate. Death rate was very very high. Fine. And as the death rate was very very high, parents were not very sure that how many of their children will live. Fine. A long life. And because it was an agricultural society, there was high population growth also. Now natural law है कि 50% chance है girl का, 50% chance है boy का. Fine. But in the agricultural society, if the girl is born, पहले इतना infanticide, feticide नहीं था. So first child is girl, second they used to try for the second child. If it is boy, they used to try for the third child, girl, fourth child girl, fifth child girl, sixth child then boy, seventh child then boy. They used to try to maintain a balance between boy and girl. दो reasons थे, because greater the boy, greater will be the income to the family because it was based on agriculture. So as a result of this, the birth rate was also very high in this kind of a society. So this is the society which is characterized by high birth rate and high death rate. And therefore, though the momentum of the population was high, population used to remain stable because most of the people used to die before they attain the age of 35, 40, 45. Getting it? Very few people used to live. And that explains why we all had in our earlier to earlier generation so much big family. Getting it? She is not an exception. It is applies to me, it applies to you all. Unless ki starting se aapki family was aristocratic family living in the British Raj or were belonging to the bureaucracy of India. Means you belong to the Bose or wo Sindhyas etc. Fine. Sindhyas का भी ज़्यादा होगा because they were kings. So कोई है यहाँ पे जो ICS को बिलोंग करता है? I don't think so. UPSC नहीं करेंगे. They will be in Harvard. Fine. UPSC is a way of middle class to get the fastest social recognition and rise up in the social capital. Ambani ka son does not have to do UPSC. So after that, most of the countries started getting independent. So in the second stage, medical facilities started developing. In the second stage, education came. In the second stage, food production increased because of the technology. With the development of railways, एक जगह से food could be transferred to दूसरे जगह जहाँ पे famines है. Fine. Agriculture, irrigation started coming. And therefore, due to food and medicine, there was sudden fall in the death rate. Getting it? But the corresponding fall in the birth rate was very, very slow because of jitna medical technology went inside, jitna the concepts of medicine went inside, utna fast the importance of family planning could not be told to the people because they were not that much educated. So as a result of this, the birth rate started declining slowly. And this is how the birth rate started declining very, very slowly. And as a result of this, if you can see here, there is a huge gap between the birth rate and the death rate, and this is the stage of low death rate and high birth rate, or we call it as a population explosion. 1950s to 1980s for India. There was a sudden increase in the population. But the families which started getting education, which started with the increasing urbanization and the increasing cost of living, people started realizing the importance of family planning. India was the first country in the world to adopt a program of family planning in 1951. Sanjay Gandhi coming and doing the family planning with force. China, because this is the stage of population explosion. It is not good for any developing nation. Itne mouths to feed kahan se? Fine. So the people started doing family planning, and usme who started doing family planning? Obviously urbanized, obviously educated, obviously who are rich. Poor logo ke liye to aaj bhi labor is money. Fine. So the birth rate started declining very, very slowly. So we have stage 2. High birth rate, low death rate, and therefore the stage of population explosion. Ye hai stationary population. And this is the stage 3, in which there is a fall in the birth rate. Death rate is already less, and therefore this is a stage of high population but with declining trends. If you read the census of India, if you read everything, yahi language use aati hai that India is having very high population but with sure trends of population decline or stabilization. यही हमने कल देखा that UP में भी the birth rate, the total fertility rate has reduced. Bihar में भी the total fertility rate has reduced. And then अब चाइना जैसी कंट्री सॉ ये प्रॉब्लम है, फाइन, सो उसने वन चाइल्ड पॉलिसी करके डायरेक्टली स्टेज में लेके आए. इमेजिन ये एक फ्रेंड है चाइना, ये एक फ्रेंड है इंडिया. दोनों एक साथ ही थे इन दिस स्टेज. चाइना कहता है नो दिस इज बैड, वन चाइल्ड पॉलिसी, एंड इट डायरेक्टली कम्स हियर. फाइन. एंड इंडिया कहता है नो वी कैनॉट डू द फोर्स बिकॉज वी आर अ डेमोक्रेसी, सो वी आर समवेयर हियर. China went very fast here, maybe in 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 2000 के आसपास China was here. India अभी confusion है whether India is here or whether India is here. But obviously we are not here to China. Fine. But thankfully, due to education, India के पास क्या है? People who are born here, till the time they reach here, we have huge amount of people between 15 to 45 years of age, which we call it as demographic dividend. China has already reaped उसका demographic dividend, but because of one child policy, अब China के पास पीछे का population ही नहीं है, and therefore China is facing the problem of inflation. Getting it? And then the country will progress again as the society will mature, again as the urbanization will occur, as the country will become rich. When you become rich, social capital increases or decreases. Now what is social capital? Social capital is interpersonal relationship. बस इतना ही समझो. Interpersonal relationship, when you become very wealthy, it increases or decreases? It decreases. Fine. इसलिए जो जितने भी rich countries है, interpersonal relationship, you don't try to trust each other, you are just working. पहले के ज़माने में interpersonal relationships इतने strong होते हैं, that is there is always meeting. Society is backward, mobility is less. Apna next topic of our syllabus, social capital. Interpersonal relationships are very, very high. But as you become wealthier, you don't trust your neighbors. You don't trust your relatives. You trust investment advisor. Fine? Getting it? You don't trust your XYZ people. You don't trust your parents. You go to वो एक अलग है. There are two concepts. I'll come to that concept. In general, there are two concepts of social capital. I'll come to that when we will discuss this. So interpersonal skills etc. या interpersonal relationship कम हो जाती है. याद है मैंने कहा था, therefore in the most rich parts you will find pubs, because friends तो चाहिए. Man is a social animal, but you don't have any friends. सुबह से शाम तक you are on Facebook और नेट और मेल, यू डोंट मीट विद द पीपल. शाम को जाके घर सामने वाले का बंद होता है, आपका भी बंद हो जाता है. फाइन. सो वेयर यू विल गो विथ टू द पब्स एक्सेट्रा. सो एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस, इन द हाईली एडवांस सोसाइटी, द ऑब्वियसली द डेथ रेट इज वेरी वेरी लेस. सॉरी, द बर्थ रेट ऑल्सो स्टार्ट्स फॉलिंग. And this stage is the stage of again stable population. Stable population. This is this in which birth rate matches the death rate is what is known as the concept of optimum population, जो कभी हो नहीं सकता. Fine? We are not machines. ये चलो grandfather has died, press a button, a baby has come out. ऐसे नहीं होगा. Fine? It is a process, it is a natural process. So optimum population is not achieved. There are certain countries in which there may be an optimum population, but ये कभी नहीं होगा. देखो हमारा syllabus पढ़ो, problems of overpopulated countries, optimum population, and in the highly advanced societies, because of high amount of urbanization, the cost of living is very, very high. As the cost of living is very, very high, therefore people take lot of education. As the people take lot of education, they delay their age of marriage. Fine? as they delay the age of marriage, this is both for boys and girls or men and women. So there comes a point, tipping point, in which after marriage in the urbanized society, because of the lack of social capital, you will shift to some other place. आपको खुद का घर लेना पड़ेगा, and for that both husband and wife has to work. Getting it? Or they will not at all marry and will start living in relationships. Live-in relationships will occur. Now, if the live-in relationship is there is no question of child. But if you marry at a late age, you don't want 5-6 children, maximum 1 or 2, and most of the urban couples will prefer only one child because housing rent, education, etc. And therefore, in the original theory, in the recent years, a new stage has occurred in which the birth rate falls to even lesser than the death rate. And this is the problem of declining population. इसकी समस्या अलग है जापान, जर्मनी, ईस्टर्न यूरोप. इसकी समस्या अलग है, इसकी समस्या अलग है, इसकी समस्या अलग है. This is a tribal society, this is an agricultural society with the start of industrialization. This is an agriculture and tribal society, this is an agro-industrial society, this is matured industrial society, this is highly industrialized society, and this is Rostov ka highest stage, the age of mass consumption, fine, in which there is a declining birth rate. Japan. किस चीज का डिमांड? हाँ, तो यही तो हो रहा है जापान में, डिमांड ही नहीं है, तो इंडस्ट्रीज क्या करेगी? कहाँ पे? कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग एंड इन्फ्लेशन इज डिफरेंट. कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग एंड इन्फ्लेशन इज डिफरेंट. कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम इन्फ्लेशन. कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग की ऐसी आदत पड़ गई इतने साल से कि लग्जरी कार, लग्जरी घर, फाइन, that is the cost of living, highly urbanized center. And ये countries कौन सी है? ये अफ्रीका नहीं है, ये यूरोप है, जापान है, जहाँ पे if the people are older, social security के provisions है. यहाँ पे तो हम है, इंदिरा गांधी old age pension scheme before below poverty line. Let India come here, there will be universal payments. And let India come here. The government will start paying for education, basic education, social security, US जैसा. If there is recession, you don't have jobs, कोई टेंशन नहीं है, government will give you the salary. इसी को तो हम citizenship या developed nations कहेंगे, fine? या फिर अफ्रीका, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, कंट्री हो ना हो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, fine? India का half part is in stage 2, half part was in stage 3. वो इंडिया का अलग है, वो इंडिया का अलग है. वर्ल्ड लेवल पे इंडिया कहाँ पे है? स्टेज 2 एंड स्टेज 3. केरला, तमिलनाडु, अर्बन सेंटर स्टेज 3, बाकी का पार्ट्स स्टेज 2. So critics argue that India has either just entered the stage 3 or is in the process of entering the stage 3. This is what is the demographic transition model. Stage 3 proper. No, stage 3. Afghanistan, fine. Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. The only thing is Pakistan will come here, Bangladesh will be here, India is here, China is here, South Africa is here, Brazil is here, France, Italy, etc. is here, USA is here, USA is here. Understand? इसीलिए USA को पता है this model में if it is here, birth rate is lesser than the death rate, fine. There are less children being born as more and more people die, so demand नहीं होगा, so USA खुद को यहाँ पे डालता है. कैसे? आने दो लोगों को, पर किसको आने दो? हमारे जैसे किसी को भी नहीं. हाईली स्किल्ड, जिसको वो कहता है H1B वीजा. सो H1B वीजा देके इट ब्रिंग्स इंजीनियर्स, डॉक्टर्स, हाईली स्किल्ड पीपल टू USA. इसलिए कोटा लिमिटेशन है. इट डज नॉट वांट कि सारे इंजीनियर्स डॉक्टर्स यहाँ आके फिर से USA विल बी हियर. इट वांट्स थोड़ा डिमांड एंड सप्लाई, ग्रेटर पॉपुलेशन, fine. So H1B visa देके, so these people work in USA, they spend in USA, and thus USA का economy keeps on running. इसलिए Trump is wrong when he does not allow people from outside USA to come in USA. It will harm him more. That is why Raj Thackeray is wrong when he does not allow people outside Maharashtra to come in Maharashtra. Mumbai ka economy will collapse. It is not the Marathi Manus who is running Mumbai ka economy, it is the people from UP and Bihar who have contributed to the growth of Mumbai. How? Because they produce goods at a cheaper rate, which gives the competitive edge to Mumbai. Getting it? It is not Punjabi who is causing the increase in the salary in Delhi, or it is the, again, people from UP and Bihar who can work at the cheapest rate and still increase, because उनको aspirations है. Because they come from this part जहाँ पे even the 15,000 salary is very big. So they come here, they work for 15,000, उनका खर्चा है 3-4 हज़ार, they send the remaining amount of money back home. Getting it? When this money goes back home, वहाँ पे infrastructure facilities, health facilities start developing, and this is how the countries will start progressing. This is what is the demographic transition model. So I guess this was the question this year. Age sex pyramid or age pyramid is here. So this is, it comes from the demographic transition model. There are basically 3 types of pyramids. This is the population pyramid of USA. See how it, through H1B visa, it has managed to keep the people, and that too highly skilled. जब तक you become highly skilled, you are generally in this age. Experience plus education, that is after BTech you do MBA, MTech, MTech के बाद you do MBA, MBA के बाद you do PhD, PhD के बाद you do some kind of a research work, then आपको US में जाने का मौका मिलेगा. और MBBS के बाद you do MD, MD के बाद you do DM, DM के बाद आजकल और एक आया है. So then only MBBS को कोई नहीं पूछेगा USA में. Fine? But उनका birth rate is less. Obviously उनका death rate will be less. I wanted to show you this of New York City. Migrants ज़्यादा है, fine, birth is less. migrants are more, इसीलिए ये ऐसे है. Understanding which population is greater in which age group.
Pyramids can also be used to show population structure for cities and towns. Population structures differ markedly between less economically developed countries and more economically developed countries.
More economically developed countries, low birth rate, low death rate. कहाँ पे एंड हो रहा है? 90 प्लस में भी देयर इज सम पॉपुलेशन. हाई डेथ रेट, 85 में कोई पॉपुलेशन नहीं है, थोड़े बहुत मेल एंड फीमेल्स है, फाइन, बट हाई बर्थ रेट, फाइन. बट यू सी हाउ, बिकॉज लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी इज लेस, कैसे कम होते जा रहा है. दिस इज विच स्टेज ऑफ डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन? दिस इज स्टेज 1. High birth rate, high death rate. Fine, that is why high birth rate and there is high death rate. There are no people up in 35 to 39 के बाद. Getting it? How the people are dying. Very less people stay in this region. Stage 1 या early part of stage 2.
Countries and more economically developed countries. The demographic information for geopyramids collected by governments during the census. This information helps them to assess the present and future needs of a country. For example, what is the likely tax takeover be? How much will have to be budgeted for healthcare and education? How much money needs to be set aside for pensions? There are 3 main population pyramid shapes. Less economically developed countries typically have a youthful, growing population. The country represented on this pyramid has a high birth rate, which is shown by the broad base on the pyramid.
See, देखो कौन सा है? युगांडा,
Each consecutive
अफ्रीका.
age group moving up the pyramid gets narrower due to the higher death rates and a short life expectancy.
Stage 1.
This youthful population is characterized by large families, many children, and few old people. Population growth is rapid. Uganda is an example of a country in this category, with 49.9% being under 14 years old and only 2.1% living beyond 65 in 2012. Civil war, diseases such as AIDS, and poverty have contributed to their high death rates. The youthful population has a high dependency ratio. This is the ratio of the working age population to those who are dependents, that is, the young dependents below 15, and the elderly dependents aged over 65.
What is the dependency ratio for India?
The working age population from 15 to 65 has to provide for a comparatively large population of children. Countries with population pyramid.
Fine. Red line क्या है? How the population has increased. This is what is the demographic transition model.
Pyramids like this represent countries at the first stage of demographic transition. As the population ages, a more beehive-like structure develops, as can be seen in this example of the UK pyramid below. This country has a declining birth rate and a lower death rate, with more people living longer. This structure is called an aging population. Many more economically developed countries in the fourth stage of demographic transition have a population structure like this. This is likely due to factors such as a more widespread use of contraception, delayed marriage, better healthcare. Notice how this pyramid for the United Kingdom bears a bulge in the area of the age groups. This is related to the larger number of people born in the United Kingdom from 1946 to 1971, with the peak coming around 1947.
Understand this. 1946 to 1971, most of the people were in this age group. कहाँ पे? UK में. आज किस कंट्री में most of the people in this age group? India. इसको हम कहते हैं demographic dividend. Provided there are jobs. Provided the economy is doing good. Fine. But ये अगर हमने chance miss किया तो this all are going to shift here. So, getting it? So, if the government finds time for economy in the coming days, India में, I am saying India is mostly this. So, this population, India में it is between this to this, fine? 15 to 55. India में most of the population right now is this. But as the age progresses, ये population यहाँ आएगा, ये population यहाँ आएगा, and if the economy does not do well, then what you are going to do? Fine? Dependency ratio will keep on increasing, crimes will keep on increasing, social crimes, etc. will keep on increasing.
We call this generation the baby boomers because the baby boom followed the Second World War. As this population ages, the bulge of the baby boomers will climb up the pyramid. Also notice that in the older age groups, there's no symmetry between males and females. This is due to the tendency for females to live longer on average than males. This aging population has implications for governments that will have to meet future medical needs and age services. The Australian government, for example, responded to projections of the numbers of old people by raising the retirement age from 65 to 67. The third type of population pyramid shown.
What is the retirement age in Australia? अभी सुना आपने 67. What is it in India? 60. Why? Because we have large number of young population. Now, should the retirement age be increased in India to 65? There is a demand right now to increase the retirement age to 65. Yes, 58. And in some states they have started to increase. Haryana mein what is the retirement age? I guess it has increased to 60. Increase किया था, right? 50 to 68 कर 60 कर दिया था. टॉप लेवल, क्योंकि आर्म फोर्सेस में कौन जा रहा है आज? हु इज पैट्रियोटिक? सो शुड वी इंक्रीज? नो. Why we should not increase? Because if the retirement age increases, it means आपके लिए vacancies कम आएगी. Understanding?
As an aged population. This type of pyramid is typical of a country in the fifth stage of demographic transition, such as this pyramid below. Here the bulge is found high up the pyramid, with the numbers beginning to reduce significantly only after 64. They have low birth rates, fewer children, and low death rates. Thus, the population starts to...
What does it show? यहाँ पे there is more population, यहाँ पे there is a less population, यहाँ पे still there is a less population. That is, people are not preferring children. This is what is declining population.
To shrink. They also have a high dependency ratio. That is, there are fewer working age people to support the growing numbers of old people. There are also more of the old people, as life expectancies are longer due to modern healthcare and better living conditions. Life expectancy is a measure of how long a person can expect to live from birth. Japan, for example, has one of the highest life expectancies in the world at 84.46, but also has a shrinking population. From 2010 to 2014, Japan's population shrank by 0.7%, going from 128.06 million to 127.2 million.
Japan is the perfect example of in the stage 5. इसके बाद it is Germany, इसके बाद it is Eastern Europe, West European nations, fine. UK और Australia cannot be that great example जितना Japan है. You see how it is shrinking. So that is, and सबसे ज़्यादा खर्चा कौन करता है? It is this age group. Fine. It is this age group. घर पे जाके ad देखना, कोई भी क्रिकेट मैच से पहले या कोई भी सीरियल से पहले 2-3 बच्चों की ad होगी. Fine. When you target the children, automatically parents are targeted. When you go to the shopping mall, child says नहीं मम्मी सर्फ मत लेना, टाइड ही लेना, मुझे टाइड की एड पसंद आई. मदर विल बाय टाइड. राइट? नहीं मुझे हॉर्लिक्स ही पीना है, कॉम्प्लान नहीं पीना. गेटिंग इट? एंड देन इट इज यू विल इन्वेस्ट इन कंज्यूमर ड्यूरेबल गुड्स, कंज्यूमर बेस्ड गुड्स, वेदर इट इज फ्रिज, एसी एक्सेट्रा, व्हीकल एक्सेट्रा. यू विल इन्वेस्ट इन दैट. This is India. Still, we have large number of population in the working age, less number of population in dependent. Japan mein it is the opposite thing. So, understanding why Japan is giving a soft loan for bullet train, Japan की ज़रूरत है वो, इंडिया से ज़्यादा जापान की ज़रूरत है, एटलीस्ट 0.1% तो उसको मिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स पे मिल रहा है इंटरेस्ट. फाइन. अंडरस्टैंडिंग वाई मारुति के लिए और सुजुकी के लिए इंडिया इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट कंट्री, नॉट जापान. Maruti Suzuki makes more business than Suzuki, the parent company. Fine. Honda Motors India is more important than the Honda Motors, the company. And understanding क्यों इतना stiff competition है between Japan and Korea. Both are in the same stage. So why there is so much stiff competition between Toyota, Suzuki, Japanese brand, Hyundai, Kia, Korean brand, Sony, Japanese brand, Samsung, Korean brand, LG, Korean brand. Getting it? So because उनके लिए the only way their countries can survive is if the subsidiaries, the companies in other nations work and make profit. India is the most important country. इसलिए India and Japan का relations will always be good at least for next 40 years because Japan का economy depends upon India. जितना आप यहाँ पे खर्चा करोगे, जितने आप मारुति की कार लोगे, जितने आप सोनी के प्रोडक्ट्स लोगे, जितने आप LG, सैमसंग के प्रोडक्ट्स लोगे, उतना देयर इकोनॉमी इज गोइंग टू वर्क बिकॉज दे आर MNCs. और जितना आप हिंदुस्तान लीवर के प्रोडक्ट्स लोगे, उतना US का इकोनॉमी इज गोइंग टू वर्क. यूनिलीवर. फाइन. आई गेस इट इज US का. जितना आप बाटा खरीदोगे उतना स्वीडन का इकोनॉमी, फ्रेंच नहीं, यूरोपियन कंट्री है, फ्रेंच या डेनमार्क, इज गोइंग टू वर्क. फाइन. बाटा इज नॉट इंडियन. बाटा इज नॉट इंडियन. नीदर इज बाटा इंडियन, नीदर इज फिलिप्स इंडियन. हाँ, Indian Scout and Bikes is not Indian. Mochi Indian. Mochi is Indian. Textile industry में जितना भी है, they are all Indian. Electronic goods और इसमें they are no Indian. Hush Puppies is not Indian. Yes, India. It is a Switzerland-based company, Canadian and Switzerland, Canadian-owned multinational company. Fine. We are very poor in manufacturing. याद रखना. Designing, we are poor in research and development. Now, what are the strengths of India in future? This manufacturing activity, low cost manufacturing activity. But the problem is, instead of Bata, some Indian businessman can invest, should invest, ताकि ये जो profit Bata का is going to Switzerland and Canada, it will stay in India. Right? We are good in iron and steel industry. We are extremely good in automobile industry. Next trade war is between India and China in the terms of automobile. Indians are buying most of the automobile companies and China is also buying most of the automobile companies. Mahindra and Tata is on the buying spree and it is also on the buying spree. Yes, yes. The American companies को generally China buy कर रहा है. European companies, European and some Korean companies also we are buying. Late. Korea has more population than Japan, South Korea, and therefore Samsung ka goods are cheaper than Sony. Cheap labor. it is developed, stage 4. Understood the demographic transition model? मैं लिखाऊंगा नहीं, मैं शॉर्ट में आपको ये कर रहा हूँ, डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन मॉडल. Long live China. I guess I have already told you which country is the largest producer of fish. China. कितना है? How much is the, and who is the second largest producer of fish in the world? India. What is the difference? 65 million tons China, 13 million tons India. Capacity building should be there. Means, see, when Modi became a prime minister, I thought ki hoga, but these are the issues where we are wasting time. Citizenship Amendment Bill and all these things, we are wasting time. Draw this diagram. थोड़ा ऑप्शनल का डायग्राम है, थोड़ा टेक्निकली राइट बनाना, जीएस जैसा सिंगल लाइंस नहीं. or you can write it here also, high stationary. इसमें तो मैं बहुत कैजुअली बनाता हूँ इसको, इसमें याद रखना it should go straight in the second stage. The birth rate does not fall, and then third stage में it starts falling down. And this has come in 2015. He arranged them in the chronological order in the prelims. Remember, this all is in your NCERT. Have you finished drawing this? बंद हो गया वो पिक, उसको ये नहीं लगाया था क्या? किसने शुरू किया है? सेव हो जाता है वन नोट में. What is this blue color का line? It is population. कब हुआ एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ? अब एग्जाम में इतने कलर्स नहीं होंगे आपके पास, तो क्या करना, ये एक डायग्राम बनाना, इसके बाजू में एक छोटा ग्राफ एंड शो पॉपुलेशन. फाइन, पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ. or you can draw with blue color line only and shade dotted population. Means exam mein do like this. Population. High birth rate, high death rate. So stationary population hai, it is neither expanding nor declining, but it is high stationary. It is early expanding. This period is the population explosion, जो इंडिया में 1980s था, right? And then, so we will call it as a late expanding. Then it is low stationary. Stationary hai population because there is a low birth rate and death rate. This graph is of birth rate, death rate. This graph is of time, and this is a declining population. This is a recent addition. Original theory यहाँ तक ही है, 4 stages. Stage 5 is recent addition. It is by Thompson and Notestein. It is same like Rostow. This is what is systems analysis in geography. 45 की theory है ये. Implication of systems analysis in geography. That is, ऐसे countries will progress from agricultural society to highly developed society. But इसका एक ही criticism है इस theory का. कि China though was not a developed society, because of its one child policy, it directly went to stage 3. It did not develop as a society. It strictly implemented the one child policy. Fine? Clear? Getting it? वहाँ पे लिखना refer notes for this ताकि भूल जाओगे. Dictation की जरूरत नहीं है. You need dictation of this, right? कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. High stationary, early expanding, late expanding, and then come to the handout which I have shared with you regarding the population. उसमें some facts are given. इसी हैंडआउट में लास्ट में एप्लीकेशन कुछ नहीं, ये सिर्फ फैक्ट्स है. मैं कल दूंगा आपको प्रॉपर इसका आंसर. कम टू पेज नंबर 23. If you apply the demographic transition model only to the developing nations, write a short note on demographic transition model only to developing nations. This is the answer. एक स्ट्रक्चर है आंसर का. डेवलपिंग नेशंस विल बी हियर, हियर और हियर. टेल मी वेयर विल बी द डेवलपिंग नेशन? 2 and 3 में. These are least developed countries. These are developing countries. These are डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज. सो डेवलपिंग में एक तो यहां हो सकता है, यहां हो सकता है, या यहां हो सकता है, राइट? सो बेस्ड ऑन दिस there are three types. Early transition, less developed nations. Early transition, fertility rate is 35 per thousand. Birth rate is fertility rate, 35 children are born per thousand population. Mortality rate is greater than 15 per thousand. Therefore there is a big gap between the fertility and death rate. कहां पे आएगा ये country? Fine, big gap. And therefore accelerated rate of population increase. Therefore such societies have poverty, have low urbanization. What are the characteristics of such society? Poverty, low urbanization, mass illiteracy, no diversification of economy, and it is a traditional society. Getting it? Example is Afghanistan, Yemen, Bangladesh. Latest data hai, Bangladesh also comes in this. Bhutan, Somalia, Congo, Rwanda, Bolivia. कोई भी दो कंट्री याद कर लो. कौन सी याद करोगे? अफगानिस्तान, बांग्लादेश और एक साउथ अमेरिकन याद करो, बोलिविया. रवांडा तो ऑब्वियस है, रवांडा इज एन अफ्रीकन नेशन. Mid transitional types are little more advanced as there is a significant decrease in the mortality. ये है mid transitional type. Fine. सबसे ज्यादा population increase कहां पे है then? Mid transitional type में. Hence natural increase of the population is highest and the characteristics of such society is medium level of urbanization, moderate literacy rate, comparatively better healthcare services. वहां पे लिखना, but still primary activities dominate. Still primary activities dominate. Example, Kenya, Libya, Iran, Mongolia. दो चीजें याद रखो, ईरान एंड मंगोलिया और कीनिया. Second stage. Second, you can write even Pakistan there. And late transitional type. Mortality is around 15 per thousand and fertility is less than 30 per thousand. याद रखो, मेरा वहाँ गलती हुई है. Fertility is less than 30 per thousand. As these countries have huge population growth rate in the past, demographic momentum is very high. Hence, even if the population is declining, the base of population is very high. Understanding? Base of population means population वैसे बहुत high है. Government is trying to decline. पहले इतना ज़्यादा है हमारा foundation that it will take time to show the fruits. Example is India and China. Example is India and China. See, this is why India is in late transition. Is the birth rate less than 30? Death rate is less than 15. Less than 30, less than 15. Life expectancy is 68, not 35, 40. So if you are using census 2011 का data, ऐसे आंसर्स में कोट करो सेंसस 2011. माई मोस्ट ऑफ द डेटा इज सेंसस 2011 बिकॉज ये बहुत ऑथेंटिक है. बट उसके बाद न्यूमरस रिवाइज्ड एस्टिमेट्स आए हैं. 2018 में भी रिवाइज्ड एस्टिमेट आया है, 2019 में भी आया है, 2016 में भी आया है, 2017 में भी आया है. आई जनरली अवॉइड यूजिंग दिस डेटा बिकॉज इसका सोर्स ऑफ ऑथेंटिसिटी इज नॉट नोन. यस, so better है safe side 2011 का data. Fine, don't use the latest data. Means don't use the trick Google करो और जो first दिखा उसको copy कर लिया. Don't do that in this thing. Fine, फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा कि अगर पुराना डेटा पर ऑथेंटिक है तो, फर्क पड़ेगा अगर रॉन्ग डेटा है तो. Don't do it from the notes which I have given you. उसको सिर्फ रिविजन के लिए अगर यूज करना है तो करो, बट डोंट डू इट फ्रॉम द नोट्स बिकॉज नोट्स का सिर्फ ऊपर का कंसेप्ट है. एक पार्ट है सोशल कैपिटल का. आई विल टेल यू व्हाट इज अ सोशल कैपिटल. फाइन, व्हाट इज अ कैपिटल? व्हाट इज कैपिटल? क्या? Capital is a means of production, for example, money, machinery, land, or human resource. So can I say capital is a resource? So when can human be a resource? If it is skilled, if it belongs to the age of 80 plus, right? Yeah, if it belongs to the age of 15 to 55. 15 to 55. Can we measure how many people are there in the age of 15 to 55? Yes, by census. Can we measure kitna land fertile hai, kitna nahi hai? Can we do with so with the machinery and money? So these are all tangible assets which can be measured. But there is a new concept, the concept of the social capital, which is considered as a resource, but it cannot be measured. It cannot be measured. Fine? So I am asking you a simple thing. Do you know how Surat ka diamond industry works? How the diamonds are transported from Bombay to Surat or from Delhi to Surat? Crores and crores of rupees ka diamond, how they are transported? Unpolished, polished, dono. People. So कैसे होते हो people? They come in flights. नहीं. There will be a person who will be normally dressed, एकदम normally dressed. उसके जेब में करोड़ों के diamonds होंगे. Because if they travel in flight, तो income tax declare करना पड़ेगा. Fine? So they will go in. They will never go in first class AC, second class AC, third AC. They will always go in sleeper because sleeper में डाउट कम होगा. थर्ड एसी में अगर पता चला करोड़ों के डायमंड्स है इसके पास तो उसको लूट सकते हैं. सेम इन एसी. सो दे विल ट्रैवल लाइक अ नॉर्मल पीपल. एंड हु आर दिस? दिस आर द मैसेंजर्स हु आर पेड अ वेरी लेस सैलरी, बट स्टिल पीपल ट्रस्ट टू गिव देम लार्ज काइंड ऑफ डायमंड्स. क्यों? बिकॉज द ट्रस्ट इज वेरी हाई. This is one example of a social capital. Trust is very, very high, fine. So social capital is trust. Getting it? Second, do you know how mafia works? Fine. So if somebody gives you organized mafia, if I want to kill Balbir, fine. So I will give some mafia 2 crore rupees कि इसको मार दो. For example, 2 crore rupees, fine. And if Balbir comes to know about my plan, and if he offers them 2.5, 4 crore, 5 crore, जो professional mafia है वो कभी नहीं करेगा. They won't turn back. Fine. Even if you go, give them double the money, social capital. Third, you give minister the money for a posting. Minister will always give you the posting. नहीं मतलब generally कुछ states में होता है. It does not happen in Haryana, it does not happen in UP, it does not happen in Bihar, but it happens in many states. Southern India में जो what we say corruption is institutionalized, ये है corruption is institutionalized. So if you give them the money, they will give you 2 hours, मतलब जितने साल की posting हो सब, minimum posting हो सब देंगे, fine. So that is what is the amount of trust. So social capital, remember, is the amount of trust. It is an intangible, informal asset which allows the people to grow, which allows the economy to grow, which allows the relationships to grow. It is the amount of relationship you invest or you put in the certain kind of a country which helps in the indirectly in the economic development of the country. Why? Because social capital will serve numerous purposes. So positives of a social capital, what is a social capital, किसका concept है, किसने उसको ऊपर लेके गए, what are the positives of the social capital and what are the negatives of the social capital, this we are going to study. Rest of the things what I have given you in the notes is value added notes. ये minimum है, what I am going to make you write. ये minimum है. That is a value added. उसमें से अगर points उठाओगे तो बहुत ही अच्छा. I'll ask you how to write one point. Example, point नहीं उठाओगे तो चलो 1-2 marks कम मिलेंगे. But what I am going to make you write is the most important point regarding the social capital. Understanding? Understanding the social capital, the level of trust that is present in the society. किसका? Yes, ये example है. जी रिसर्च पेपर के ही एग्जाम्पल्स हैं. All these are from the research papers, okay? So social capital does not have universally accepted definition. Does not have universally accepted definition, but it can be loosely defined as norms, relationships, and understanding. Underline the word norms. Norms are different, relationships are different, understanding is different. Fine? तीनों words को underline करो. That allows, same statement, that allows individuals to form cooperative relationships. That allows the individuals to form cooperative relations. Underline the word cooperative relations. For mutual benefit. So trust, for mutual benefit, right? Social capital is high among all of us. इसलिए if I tell you something, you believe it. अगर मेरे पे trust ही नहीं होता, I would not have believed it, fine? This is what is the concept of social capital. You have to trust someone, so it reduces your workforce. You trust your most of the teachers in the coaching industry, fine? That is what is the social capital. Invisible law that operates all among us, fine? Why you trust XYZ teacher, why you trust XYZ brand? It is because maybe someone else has trusted and benefited, fine? So social capital has always has a history. The history is of social environment. See, ये सब actually ये geography optional का topic नहीं है, ये sociology optional का topic है, fine? But 2008 के syllabus के बाद ये सब geography में आ गए, so इसलिए ये topics अजीब लगते हैं कि क्या है ये, fine? So it is norms, values, systems, जिसका ये है. Now tell me, in present day India society, is the social capital high or low? Low. क्यों? Because social interactions have been replaced by social media, which has reduced the social interactions. Understanding क्यों आया था GS में social capital? क्या? Social capital मतलब विश्वास एक दूसरे के प्रति, बस. कौन सा? Human capital. Migrants पे you will keep विश्वास. क्यों? क्यों विश्वास नहीं होगा migrants पे? कैसे पता चलेगा लीगल है या इलीगल है? आधार कार्ड ऐसे ही बन जाता है इंडिया में. How will you know whether it is legal or illegal? अगर कोई migrant is working in your house for maybe 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, उसने कभी चोरी नहीं की, कभी कुछ नहीं किया, तो फिर विश्वास बढ़ेगा. उस विश्वास को है social capital. Otherwise you will never trust a migrant because maybe you will keep them in the house for 24 hours. एक दिन लेके चले गए. You don't know कहाँ से आए हैं, कहाँ पे गए हैं, fine? You have just kept them on the भरोसा कि someone else has referred you. Getting it? Social capital can be classified into 3 variables, or social capital can be classified into 3 types. Social capital can be classified into 3 types. First, bonds. Bonds. In this, the people are linked. In this, the people are linked by common identity. By common identity. Linked by common identity. What is your surname? Vajpayee. What is your surname? Singh. Do they belong to same caste? No. But if they are good friends, in spite of belonging to different caste, it is a different kind of an social capital. But had he given me an answer Vajpayee, he also has Vajpayee, or both of them as Singh, what is the common between them? Ethnicity, caste, etc. So, understanding? So that is what is known as bond. So yesterday you were only telling Marathi group in Tamil group in Rajendra Nagar, Marathi group in Rajendra Nagar, they will always be together. Why? Because the trust is there between them. That is what is the bond. Such common identity is of family, ethnic group, caste, etc. Ethnic group, caste, etc. Caste, etc. Social capital is not a new concept, it is very, very old concept. So bonds, if you remember ancient India, Mughal period, instead of capturing a kingdom, they used to marry the princess or they used to give daughter in marriage. So that bond develops and resource, that kingdom will become a resource for them. So this is what is the social capital. Getting it? Bridges. Second, bridges. These are the links. These are the links which are beyond the shared identity. Beyond the shared identity. Example, people may come together as colleagues. See, you don't have a shared identity. I don't think there is a brother and sister in the class. Fine? So, you are coming together and you trust each other because you are colleagues now from 4 months. This is what you are, you have built bridges. You have not built bonds, you have built bridges. अभी अपना क्लास बहुत छोटा है, बट इमेजिन ये 400-500 का क्लास होता. सो पहले ब्रिज बनेगा, फिर अगर प्यार बीर हो गया तो शादी हो गई तो बॉन्ड बनेगा. फाइन. जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस इन वाजीराम, राइट? So 400, 500 का students, generally one affair happens and out of affairs 1% ends up in marriage. So bonds. This is how. Example के साथ समझो how the social capital develops. Jokes apart, understanding. So colleagues are an example of bridges. But bridges is always in the same social hierarchy, same social order. This is what is the bridges. Now suppose if you are working somewhere and if you become very friendly with your boss or very friendly with your immediate or with your junior or with the peon, इतना कि आप उसके घर पे जाने लग गए, वो आपके घर पे आने लग गया, you call each other in the family functions, etc. And that is known as linkages. And this is very common. These are the links that develop. Social capital is a link or trust. These are the links that develop with the people above or below the social order. Above or below the social order. Above or below the social order. Understanding this? Above or below the social order. Social order, hierarchy. This is what I said is missing in India. When you ask social capital is low in India, this is missing in India. Above and below the social order, फिर आ जाता है caste, फिर आ जाता है your position in the society, फिर आ जाता है rich versus poor का debate. This is not there in USA maybe. Fine? नहीं समझ में आया कुछ भी? हाँ? Social capital is a part of welfare geography. Social capital is a part of welfare geography. Is a part of welfare geography. That is, it is talking about the welfare of the people. Full stop. People seek welfare in many ways. People seek welfare in many ways. Example, education is a welfare. Food is a welfare. Example, food, education. Food, education, full stop. देखो ह्यूमैनिटीज के सब्जेक्ट जैसा थोड़ा थिंक करो. वेलफेयर, how are you going to do the welfare? If you want to do food, will you grow your own food? Yes, you can. Can you purchase your own food? Yes, you can. Can government give subsidized food to you, and so that if you don't have that kind of an economic strength to purchase the food, you can purchase the good food but with the help of the government, right? Right, understanding? So welfare can be, welfare can be. और ये सब रटते नहीं बैठना है, समझना है, अपने लैंग्वेज में जाके वहां पे लिखना है एग्जाम में. फाइन. दिस इज नॉट पेपर 1 सेक्शन A, this is section B. You have to internalize these things, put an examples and write it. Welfare can be food, first point, purchased in the market. Welfare can be purchased in the market. You are purchasing the welfare by paying the tuition fees here, right? Second, provided free of cost or subsidized by the state. Provided free of cost or subsidized by the state. And third, it can come through informal interaction in the social sector. It can come through informal interaction in the social sector. You require 20,000 rupees urgently to pay the fees. Parents don't give you. So second option is gone, right? It can come through informal interactions in the social sector. Likha? Parents don't give you. So your second option is gone. Subsidy nahi milegi. Government, for you now government is parent, right? Bank won't give you. The first option is gone. So your friend who has got a job, yaar merko, this is the importance of social capital. Third is what is the social capital. Understanding? Relationship. Your friend gives you, even though you are studying, 20,000-30,000 rupees on one call because he believes that maybe after you get selected, you will return the money. Right? This is what is the importance of social capital. Entire industry is driven by the social capital. Formal capital plays a very less part. I took this example so that you will understand what is the importance of social capital. Getting it? How many of you have asked from friends? Most of us do. Even I used to do that. Fine? And क्या गारंटी है कि आप सिलेक्ट होगे? क्या गारंटी है कि आप उसको पैसे दोगे? कुछ नहीं. It is just a trust that he is giving you. And remember, he has also joined the job for the first time. Even he is facing some kind of crunch. उसके बाद भी वो देता है आपको. That is what is the importance of social capital. Getting it? Next. This method of informal social networks is known as social capital. Social networks is known as social capital. Capital. Informal social networks is known as social capital. The term was popularized by Robert Putnam. It was not originated, it was popularized by Robert Putnam. इससे पहले ही ये term था. Was popularized by Robert Putnam in his book Bowling Alone. In his book Bowling Alone. Where he showed where he tried to show how the modern American society, by becoming wealthier, has lost internal skills, interpersonal skills, comma, communities, community networks, resulting into society becoming more and more individualized, This was your question for resulting into society becoming more and more individualized. This was your question for prelims. In the context of any country this year's, which one of the following would be considered as a part of its social capital? क्या है answer? That level of trust and mutual harmony. Getting it? Human capital, physical capital, again human capital, social capital. James Coleman said that social capital is inherent, said that social capital is inherent to the structures of relations between social actors, between the social actors. According to him, ये अगर याद रख सकते हो तो रखो, because this is a structures of relations between social actors. Humans, we are social actors, fine. अगर ये याद रख सकते हो तो रखो, या उसका simple definition याद रखो जो मैं दे रहा हूँ. It is an intangible asset. You cannot measure it. Trust you cannot measure. It is an intangible asset. Intangible asset that provides necessary insurance, required for trustworthy transactions. He took the case study of diamond merchants of New York, where a merchant exchanges the bag of diamonds, or offers the bag of diamonds, not exchange, offers the bag of diamonds to other merchants for quality inspection. Offers a bag of diamond to other merchants for quality inspection. इनफॉर्मल, मेरे पास इतने इतने करोड़ के डायमंड आए, आप देखो ये अच्छी क्वालिटी है कि नहीं. अब इफ somebody is not good, वो उसमें से एक डायमंड उठा भी सकता है और कह सकता है इसमें से डायमंड डुप्लीकेट था, ये देख. He can replace that original diamond with the artificial diamond, but there is a trust, and how this trust is achieved. Do you know how anyone here Jain, anyone here Gujarati, how Gujaratis operate? Gujarati will go open a business, फिर in that business he will earn money, he will go to open a business at some other place, वहाँ पे उसका blood relative आएगा, इधर भांजा, भाई या भाई का husband, right? He will grow, he will give that business to someone else, he will go, keep on growing. So they will just bring their family in the entire business, and this is what they operate, right? They will marry only between themselves, and in the close-knit family. Getting it? So Ambani का son has married a girl जिसका already business है. Fine? They has not married outside. So over the period of time their business will grow. Parsi community. Tata का ownership will always go to Tata only. Though Ratan Tata is not the son of Jamshedji Tata, he does not belong to the Jamshedji family, still Ratan Tata को ही दिया. They did not give it to Mistri. Mistri came, उसको निकाल दिया 1-1.5 साल में. Understanding? It will stay only in Parsis. It will stay only in the Tata family. Parsi business will stay only with the Parsis. See, इतना ज़्यादा social capital है कि they don't even trust Mistri there. That is what is the concept of social capital. Jains. Next time you go to any bigger tourist place, वहाँ पे जैन मंदिर और जैन धर्मशाला मिलेगी ही. Jains will stay only there only. You come to UPSC, you will find Jito and Geo. These are the Jain organizations which are present in the Karol Bagh and Patel Nagar, जहाँ पे the students give the entrance exam and there is totally free stay, free education. They pay even the fees of the classes, right? Just they want that Jain community should go up with the condition that once an officer is selected, he will help further officers, further people from the Jain community to grow. So what will happen over the period of time? Who will be there strong in bureaucracy? Kiska command hoga in the bureaucracy, in the decision making? Jains. Fine? This is what is known as the social capital. Fine? Test series की fee, classes की fee, सब कुछ जीतो देता है. Non for profit organization. Social capital in India. Social capital in India. Social capital in any nation is based on trustworthiness. Is based on trustworthiness and social environment. And the social environment. If the social environment supports high level of obligations, if the social environment supports high level of obligations, there is high level of social capital. What do you mean by high level of obligation? If you have helped me, I am obliged to help you in future. Fine? If the social environment supports high level of obligations, there is higher social capital. Case study. In India, many people form committees. Yes, you must have heard BC. Fine. क्या करते हैं in BC? Especially ladies. XYZ amount of money they put every month. So there is a group of 15-20 people. Fine. If everyone is 15 people, 15 ladies will come together. नहीं पता BC. It is so common in ladies. It is, yes, it is not a scheme. It is informal. A society में जो आसपास neighborhood में ladies रहती है, they come together. They will put 2,000 rupees. There will be 15 members, for example, 2,000 rupees per month, 30,000 उसको मिलेगा जिसको जरूरत है या जिसका चीट आया. Fine. Suppose if you all are there and he says कि he wants the money, it will be given to him. So next time it will be given to you. Next time it will be given. So all the 15 members are covered. इसमें कोई डर नहीं है कि ये 2,000 दे के बाद में 2,000 देगा नहीं. Why? Because there is a trust level. Fine. So in Delhi, such BCs are known as committees. Getting it? That is an example of social capital. Kitty parties. Kitty parties में होता क्या है? The same thing. Kitty party is an example of a social capital. Fine. It is an example of how self-help group works. उसी को हम आज कहते हैं self-help groups. Right? But that is basically a social capital. Many people form committees in which every member contributes. While one gets the sum on the rotational basis. Fine? That is the end of social capital. Easy concepts है. That is why I said I require just 3 lectures. कल परसों का, आज का और कल का for finishing this chapter. Social movement is different. Social mobility is whether a spion's son can become a doctor. That is what is the social mobility. Hierarchy, social hierarchy. Social environment, आसपास का trust level कैसा है society का. Fine. Positives of social capital. You only tell me positive of social capital. Social capital is even used for functioning of numerous institutions. याद रखना. For example, if there is an institution known as bank, fine. If there is a person known as you, if you have maintained your account balance properly, if you have paid your credit card का bill very properly, if you have paid your loans very properly, तो ही आपको future loan मिलेगा. Why? Because bank को पता नहीं आपके साथ क्या होने वाला है आगे, whether your business is going to be successful or not. But bank works on the trust कि इसका history is good, therefore whether to give him loan or not. That is how. So one of the benefit of social capital is social capital just does not help in functioning of the informal institution but also helps in functioning of the formal institutions. That is what is the social capital. For example, if I give you an assignment, you generally do it because you trust it. Fine? That is what is the social capital. GS में my trust is better than that of optional, because optional I am new in Rajendra Nagar. So that is why in one day Telegram channel had 460 subscribers, right? That is what is the social capital, कि ये सर कुछ कर रहे हैं तो ठीक ही करेंगे, हमारा टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे. अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस? हाँ, कल शाम को तो बनाया मैंने. परसों बनाया था. अच्छा, मैंने भी नहीं बनाया, मनु ने बनाया था. सो गेटिंग इट? दिस इज व्हाट इज द सोशल कैपिटल. याद रखना, इन एरिया से क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं आजकल, बिकॉज वो पुराने एरियाज गए अब, एक्सेप्ट डेमोग्राफिक ट्रांजिशन मॉडल. सो फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंस, it helps in the successful functioning of both formal institutions such as bank, functioning of formal institutions, example bank, ये diagram, as well as social institutions. Second, it helps as a source of information. Comma, knowledge, and human action. Especially in the country such as India, where literacy rates are low. Example, not farmer cannot go to the internet and do the research papers, but if someone tells him, then he will accept it. That is what is the meaning of this source of information. Getting it? Third, it helps in diffusion of innovation. Greater the social capital, faster is the flow of innovative ideas, helping in increasing the productivity. Example, use of seat belts. हमें ज्योग्राफी के एग्जाम्पल्स लेने हैं, इकोनॉमिक ज्योग्राफी, कमिंग फ्रॉम brand ambassadors or coming from celebrities or government. See, if Amitabh Bachchan tells you to go for polio or use seat belts, you will listen to him more than any koi company ka CEO telling you. That is what is the social capital. Getting it? So advertising industry makes the use of this. For example, look at this advertising. It shows the social capital. So how the social capital कभी कभी ऐसे वीडियोस फिर डाले जाते हैं टू शो द सोशल कैपिटल वाई एक्सेट्रा एक्स वाई जेड. सो देर इज अ चाइल्ड हु इज, दिस इज द वीडियो विच शोड वाई ब्रेकिंग सिस्टम शुड बी देयर. गेटिंग इट? सो ये वीडियो यूज किया था वोल्वो ने टू शो बिफोर कमिंग टू इंडिया हाउ पावरफुल उसका ब्रेकिंग सिस्टम इज. Had it been some other company, मैंने वोल्वो का इसलिए किया क्योंकि सीट बेल्ट का इन्वेंशन ही उन्होंने किया था, राइट, सेफ्टी मेजर्स में. सो यू विल ऑलवेज ट्रस्ट वोल्वो बस. नेक्स्ट, it has the quality of public goods. It has the quality of public goods. Because entire society benefits. Entire society benefits. Your good means you showing trust, you showing honesty. आपका तो benefit होगा ही, but entire society will benefit from it. Fine. Next, it helps in checking crime. It helps in checking crime. Comma, implementation of public policies. Implementation of public policies. And strengthening of citizens. And strengthening of democracies. And strengthening of democracies. Strengthening of democracies. Right? Imagine you are in your hometown. ये केस स्टडी लिखी है हमने. In your Delhi you may do this. But in your hometown are there chances कि आप दारू पी के रास्ते पे रात को भटक रहे हो, वहाँ पे गिर रहे हो गटर में, ऐसा करोगे? क्यों? इज्जत. दूसरे दिन सोसाइटी में किसने नाम नहीं रखना चाहिए आपके पेरेंट्स को या आपको. सोसाइटी शुड नॉट रिमूव यू आउट, राइट? That is why I said it helps in checking crime. So case study. Case study. People get rewarded or sanctioned. People get rewarded or sanctioned for certain kind of behaviors. Certain kind of behaviors. Thus help in maintaining public order. Thus help in maintaining public order. So understanding why आजकल crimes सब बढ़ेंगे, because there is no society का control. Fine, डर ही नहीं है किसी का. Neighbors don't know each other. That is why the social capital is declining. Getting it? There are certain negatives of the social capital. Social capital is highest level of trust. Fine. So if you are an Indian belonging to XYZ group, fine, कोई दिखाता है आपको कि XYZ country में ये religious group के ये हो रहा है, and you get brainwashed thinking that this kind of religious community is bad and I should kill it even in my country. Then आप नहीं सोचते कि this was my neighbor, this was this thing. So social capital is used by terrorist organizations now. Fine, trust. Second, highest level of social capital is not seen in normal societies like us, but it is seen in crime world. That is why I took an example. Fine. Third, social capital results into rent seeking behavior. Rent seeking behavior means you all will come together and you will form a cartelization or group, and then government के ऊपर pressure डालोगे कि मैं tax नहीं भरूंगा, मैं ये नहीं करूंगा. Fine, that. And in the countries like India, social capital results into casteism and affects the social mobility. Casteism means social capital सिर्फ ब्राह्मण्स में ही है, social capital सिर्फ क्षत्रियस में ही भी है. There is no social capital between this thing. So social capital, when it is in the narrow grouping, it does not allow one to rise up. Getting it? So इसके बाद do you really think, चलो इससे तो आपका knowledge बढ़ गया, you have improved, but ये geography optional का topic लग रहा है आपको? Waste of time and waste of syllabus. Fine. What is there in geography optional? Nothing is there. So negatives first. It promotes rent seeking behavior. Rent seeking behavior where small groups may force the government. Small groups may force the government or the society for certain material benefits. Certain material benefits. Take an example. India में caste based social capital is very high. So Jats as a group force the government to give reservation. ये भी एक negative है social capital का. Fine. Whether it is a rich Jat, whether it is a poor Jat, they don't think. They come together in the name of religion. It can be any religion. Fine. Second, it results into cartelization. Results into cartelization. Cartelization, आप सब इकट्ठा हो गए with vested interest and कहा कि मेरे से geography पढ़ना ही नहीं है. That is what is an cartelization, right? Which helps in forming terrorist groups or crime mafias. Which helps in forming terrorist groups or crime mafias, or promotes behaviors such as drugs, smoking, etc. Behavior such as drugs, smoking, etc. So those who smoke, you know this. Your smoking partner will never ever tell your parent that you are smoking. Fine? Even if you are smoking and if your friend is not smoking and अगर आपके कपड़े से smell आने लग गई, वो कहेगा नहीं अंकल मैं कर रहा था. Fine? क्यों? क्योंकि उसको मार नहीं पड़ने वाली आपके parents. And you will do the same thing for your friend to his house. This is what is social capital, trust ka level. So we'll continue with the new topic tomorrow, quality of life. See, I have shared on Telegram group a nice document regarding indices etc. देख लेना. Ancient history का भी एक share करूँगा. तो दिन में एक दो पेजेस प्रीलिम्स के हिसाब से पढ़ना शुरू कर दो. जो भी मैं शेयर करता हूँ उसमें से.